the 2020 up to now, the group of billionaires' total wealth has increased by $308 billion. Their wealth rise by $282 billion in 23 days during the COVID outbreak. Researchers use Forbes' real-time billionaire list, which daily updates billionaires' change in wealth. They gather the information from various sources to create its comprehensive catalogue of the world's billionaires. On April 5th and April 10th, after the markets closed on those two specific days, they applied a filter where Forbes' website only displayed US billionaires. Then they retrieved the data and added up their wealth or net worth. The sum for April 5th was $3.017 trillion, and for April 10th it was $3.229 trillion. The Forbes Global Billionaire list recorded U.S. billionaires' wealth at about $2.9 trillion on March the 18th. When subtracted from the April 10 total of $3.229 trillion, the difference, or net growth, comes out to $282 billion in 23 days. Their point is this happens due to tax cut and other tax benefits, but anyhow, billionaires possess a combined net wealth of $3.229 trillion, and their collective wealth skyrocketed to 1,130% from 1990 to 2020. If you want to see how the total wealth moving between top richest people in the world, you can watch the video created by the Sparrow, Art of Racing. The link is displaying on the top right-hand side of this video. Check out and learn. As of April 15, 2020, Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos' already incredible wealth lifted up with additional $25 billion during the pandemic. Since January 1, 2020, after being down a bit at the early days of the outbreak and the stock market's initial free fall, no one is benefiting just like him. Eric Yuan, the founder and CEO of Zoom, the new ubiquitous online video conferencing technology company, realized a rapid rise in his wealth throughout the outbreak and is reported to be worth about $2.58 billion. Billionaire including Jeff Bezos, his ex-wife Mackenzie Bezos, Eric Yuan, former Microsoft chief Steve Ballmer, and Elon Musk, each saw their fortunes jump by more than $1 billion during the outbreak. Bezos, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett have as much money as the bottom half of all American households. But the harsh truth beyond the wealth is 78% of people in the United States living paycheck to paycheck, 20% with no or negative net worth and lack 3 months' worth of emergency funds. Not only the billionaires, the rich also got richer during the outbreak, while the poor and middle-class people were struggling to buy toilet papers and necessities, homeschooling for their children, caring for sick family members, or just trying to make it through the day. The top wealthy have taken to their yachts and private jets. David Geffen, a music and film icon who has the wealth of $7.7 billion according to Forbes, exemplified the disconnect and the gap between ultra-rich and everybody else by literally writing a wordings in his now deleted Instagram profile. He posted it while sailing. He wrote, "Isolated in the Grenadines avoiding the virus. I'm hoping everybody is staying safe." Some argue that billionaires must have engaged some sort of unethical practices to obtain such a tremendous wealth, and believe that it is wrong someone to obtain that much of wealth. Many claimed and argue that their wealth should be redistributed among the people. But when we look at some theories, we can see that this type of mentality is completely wrong. These theories will be overviewed and presented to you by the Sparrow in near future. There is another group of people saying that billionaires should be investigated very closely. Bezos is a tremendous business person and possibly one of the greatest entrepreneurs in modern history. When every shops were closed up during the pandemic, and when all the systems are closed, and when all stay at home, these amazing wealthiest masterpieces managed to upgrade their wealth during this time. The same is true of other companies such as Apple, Google, and Microsoft. that are starting to resemble near monopolies. Their raw power, war chests of money, and political clout make them almost invincible. This is not about the capitalism or socialism, but when considering ultimately after the COVID-19 outbreak, while the entire world economy has shut down and makes billionaires fine and upgraded, they are running fine. Most of them have worked hard and built companies that offer innovative, useful, and important products and services. They themselves managed to build systems creating inward cash flow for them. You can learn how these billionaires generating this much of wealth by watching the coming video series of The Sparrow, Art of Learning. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe The Sparrow and stay tuned for future videos.